Mr. President, thank you so very much, and we are honored on behalf of the United States to be here and to greet you this afternoon. I am thoroughly enjoying, along with my colleagues. Would my colleagues please stand? We'll give them a round of applause from the United States again for being with us today. I am thoroughly enjoying the multiple presentations and the debates relative to your Constitution. And obviously, one coming from a country where we have a Constitution that grants us at the local level powers to run our own municipalities. And so I have to echo one of the gentleman's comments that within Nigeria and within your local governments, your communities, you have the intelligence, you have the skill sets, you are bright enough to run your own government. And we should never allow anyone to make us believe that we do not have the capacity to do so. For God has created us in His own image and in His likeness. And by creating us in His image and in His likeness, He has given us the sagacity and the skill sets to be able to run our government. If we are ever in a position that we may not know something, then we have enough intelligence to reach out to somebody that does know to help us along the way. That is why we are here together as brothers, as sisters, to help one another to build Nigeria as the leading country on the continent of Africa. Let me invite your attention to a concept very briefly of a baby being born. When a baby is born, it is dependent. It needs the nurturing and the help of its parents to feed it, to guide it, to caress it, to help it along the way. At some point in time, that child begins to grow to a level of independence, that it begins to do things for itself. It can feed itself. It can clothe itself. It can read for itself. It can do for itself. And yes, that transition from dependency to independence is a challenging one. But then we move from that stage of from dependency to independency to interdependency. We have got to get to the point where we rely upon one another, just as European countries rely upon each other, create their own monetary systems that impact the world. Nigeria must lead the way to create the type of monetary and economic systems for all of Africa, because this is the last bastion. This is the last hope for the entire world. Everybody is looking to Africa. We must not lose sight on that. If we feel as though that we cannot do for ourselves, then maybe you need to step aside and allow someone who has gone to school like the professor, someone who has educated themselves to learn the best way in managing the affairs of its community. I represent a small community outside of Washington, D.C. We're a small community, but I am the mayor. I represent the people of my community. They have entrusted in me to be their spokesperson, to be their eyes, to be their ears, in order to represent their interests. As we have done so, we are able to tax our businesses and tax our residents to generate revenues to support the things that we must do on behalf of our citizenry. We cannot be dependent upon the federal system to provide us funds. We cannot be dependent upon the state to provide us funds. We must move from being dependent to a form of independence. By doing so and having our own autonomy, we have now been able to attract outside investment, which we are now developing the largest integrated, distributed, renewable, self-generating power development within our municipality at the tune of 13 billion naira in your funds. A small community being able to attract outside investment to spur economic development within our community. We are moving from being dependent to independent to interdependency. I encourage you that no matter what your trials and your tribulations have been in the past, be as that scripture that Paul said, I count not myself to have apprehended. I'm forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth to those things which are ahead. I press towards the mark of the higher calling.
Thank you very much indeed. That was quite spicy. That was quite spicy, and I am excited that you were excited at what you were saying. Thank you very, very much.